Welcome! In this project, you'll create a script that calculates the Celsius equivalent of a Fahrenheit temperature. You can follow along on page 138 of the book. From our Blackboard page, select Student Data Files from the menu on the left. You can also find the student data files in the Week 1 or Week 2 course modules. Download the file CIS311 studentdatafiles.zip. Extract the files and in the Chapter 2 folder, select index.htm. Step 1. In your text editor, open index.htm from the Hands-On Project 2.1 folder in the Chapter 2 folder, where we are. To do that, I'll right-click index.htm and select Open With. From the drop-down menu, this time I'll use Visual Studio Code. You can use the text editor of your choice, but here, the color scheme is a little more conducive to following along. Enter your name and today's date where indicated in the comment section in the document head. That's in lines 9 and 10. Step 2. At the bottom of the document, before the closing body tag, enter script. That's here in line 46. Insert a blank line, and then enter script as a closing tag to create a new script section. Step 3. Within the script section you created in the previous step, enter the following function. Function convert. The body of the function is var deg_f for degrees Fahrenheit equals document dot get element by ID passing the argument f value in quotes dot value. In the next line, line 49, will include var deg_c for degrees Fahrenheit. On the right-hand side of the equal sign, we'll type in the formula to convert from Fahrenheit to Celsius. We'll intentionally include an error in our formula, which we'll fix in a later step. The formula we'll start with is deg_f minus 32 times 5 divided by 9. The last line of the body of this function is document dot get element by ID passing in the argument c value followed by .inner HTML equals deg_c. The function named convert starts by looking up the Fahrenheit value entered by users and assigning it to a variable named degf. To look up the Fahrenheit value entered by users, we use the getElementById method and pass an f value. That will pass in whatever is input in this HTML element above, input type number with ID of f value. The convert function then performs calculations on degf to arrive at the Celsius equivalent, which is assigned to the variable named degc in line 49. Remember, we intentionally included an error in our formula, which we'll fix later. Just a mathematical error. Finally, in line 50, the convert function assigns the value of degc as the inner HTML value of the element with the ID C value. We can see the element with the ID C value in line 42. It virtually has nothing in it except the opening and closing paragraph tags and this ID C value. However, in line 50, when we assign it the degc value, we will update that element to show the Celsius equivalent of the Fahrenheit value that the user input. In step 4, below the closing curly brace for the convert function, but before the closing script tag, enter the following statement to add an event listener. An event listener is a way that we register a button to handle or respond to some user action, an event like a mouse click or a keystroke. In line 52, we'll type document.getElementById button to reference the button element assigned the ID button in line 38. We'll then include .addEventListener to call the addEventListener method. We'll pass in 3 arguments to the addEventListener method. The first will be click in quotes, which specifies which action or event to respond to. In this case, we'll respond to a button click event. We could also respond to a dragging or dropping event, for example. For the second argument, include the function name to which the button responds. In this case, that function is convert. In other words, we want to call the convert function when this button is clicked. The third argument that will pass to the addEventListener method is false. The third argument is especially useful if we have multiple event handlers. However, in this case, we really just have one. The third argument would determine in what order those event handlers fire, in case we have multiple event handlers. Now save your work. In step 5, open index.htm in your browser. I'll return to the file, right-click it, and select Open with Firefox. Enter -40 in the Enter Temp in degrees Fahrenheit box and then click Convert to Celsius button. -40 degrees Fahrenheit is actually equivalent to -40 degrees Celsius. However, the formula incorrectly calculates that -40 degrees Fahrenheit is equivalent to -57.7 degrees Celsius. This is because the calculations in the equation must take place in a different order than the order of precedence dictates. Step 6. Return to the index.html file in your text editor. Then add 2 sets of parentheses to the first statement in the convert function to modify the order in which the calculations are performed, as follows. Group deg_f minus 32 into parentheses and 5 divided by 9 into parentheses. Step 7. Save your work and refresh or reload index.html in your browser. With -40 entered in the Temp in degrees Fahrenheit box, click the Convert to Celsius button. This time, we see that the temperature is correctly calculated as -40 degrees Celsius.